There are plenty of kills in horror movies. I just blew your mind, right? I bet you never thought of it that way now, did ya? Alright, well, joking aside, kills can stand out in a bunch of different ways. Shocking is a word used to describe kills often, whether the snuff is unexpected or extremely gruesome. That's one way to make a kill stand out, but if you want folks reeling for ages on account of your kill, you gotta get smart. Really smart and creative too, and that's where the clever kill comes in. Take into account the universe you're working with, audience expectations, and the mental state of characters on screen, and you're well on your way. These are the kills that folks talk about for ages, analyze, and chuckle when they realize everything that went into it. Sometimes the killers have super high IQs, and sometimes it's just a carnival of errors that gets everything just right. Either way, if a murder activates someone's brain in a new way, you know there was a whole bunch of good stuff that went into it. Hello horror heads, and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 most clever kills in horror movies. Before we begin, we've got a lovely message from today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. That's right, you probably already know what Raid is, but it's about time you checked it out yourself. With over 500 champions to choose from, there are so many team combinations to try out, making it one of the deepest mobile RPGs going. Personally, I like Dracomorph of the Lizardmen. He's just so strong, and with poison jaws, you can put the entire enemy team at a disadvantage. How do you get wicked champions? Well, by opening shards. Good or bad, these can be used to unlock brand new characters, and if you don't like what you got, you can use them to upgrade your favorites. Let's open some now. Alright, let's go. Popping the first one open. Oh, very nice. We've got Spike Head. See, that's what I want my head to look like. Alright, Siegebreaker. This guy looks like that furnace boss from Dark Souls 2. Incredible stuff right here. Ooh, it's gonna be a good one. I can feel it. Oh, God, yeah. Hyria. What is that? Like Princess Zelda? It's incredible. It looks like Sophitia from Soul Calibur. She can kick some ass, I bet. Raid is constantly getting updates, and the September 2021 is sure to change the way you play. There are all sorts of champion tweaks and reworks happening, making sure that PvP is more competitive than ever. Plus, the Forge is on the way, so start crafting excellent artifacts right away. Right now, if you click on the link in the video description, new players will receive 100,000 free silver and a free epic champion, Lightsworn. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. Good luck, and I'll see you out there. Gnarly, let's get going. Coming in at number 5, we've got the shovel decapitation from Reanimator. If you take this kill strictly at face value, you might not think it's too clever at all. Like, yeah, shovels can be wielded with deadly results, big whoop. Herbert West, sociopath extraordinaire, realizes that his scientific work is in jeopardy and something needs to be done to ensure that it doesn't get stolen by a power-hungry professor. So he reacts in a decidedly unscientific way. He kills to get what he wants. Not too clever now, is it? But wait, there's more. Much more. See, to kill Dr. Carl Hill and hide his body wouldn't have been enough for West. We've seen how far he likes to take things already, with the opening scene in Reanimator showcasing his tendency to push the envelope. If he's willing to reanimate his professor, Dr. Gruber, Dan Kane's cat, and the dean at Miskatonic, why would he stop after killing Dr. Hill out of necessity? This is an opportunity for further investigation. He can test the reagent in a totally new, unethical situation. So he injects the glowing green goop into Hill's head and body separately. However, he doesn't foresee the psychic connection between the two, which ends up causing more trouble than he could have ever expected. Classic hubris, right? So even if the shovel kill itself was more brutal than brainy, the results are super interesting. It uses everything we know about the two characters involved to create an ironic scenario unlike any other. Both West and Hill think they can outsmart each other, leading to an insane procession of escalating events. And if two mad scientists attempting to kill and reanimate each other doesn't result in a clever kill, you're just telling your story wrong. Coming in at number 4, we've got the frozen head smash from Jason X. Sure, bringing horror icons into space is a bit of a cliche move at this point, or at least it was back in the day. We should revive that practice, by the way, don't you think? Okay, I'm getting off track. We're talking about a clever kill in Jason X. After being cryogenically frozen for hundreds of years, Jason is written off as dead. Not too smart, future people. You can't kill that kind of evil. After the folks aboard the Grendel realize the danger they're in, a little too late of course, Jason begins his rampage. His first kill involves using the very cold temperatures that kept him at bay for 445 years. As he's still warming up, he grabs poor Adrian by the skull and dips her in liquid nitrogen. That shock to the dome should be enough to kill anyone, but that's not enough for Jason. To make sure the audience is fully engaged in this futuristic approach to mass murder, he then takes the frozen and fragile skull of this poor woman and smashes it to smithereens. In other Friday the 13th flicks, this kind of cranium crushing would be squishy and bloody, but in Jason X, that's not the case. We're in the future now, so no old school kills. At least that's the message they're trying to get across. This kill is a primetime example of filmmakers knowing they had to up the ante and doing so with a flourish of frozen flesh. Sure, smashing a head has been done before, but setting up Jason's future debut via flash freezing and then having the first thing he does after waking up be use the cold to his advantage is a pretty sweet move. And if nothing else, it is one hell of a striking image. Coming in at number 3, we've got the Angel Trap from Saw 3. Yeah, most of the kills throughout the Saw series are pretty clever. It's known for its gruesome and fiendish traps, along with explanations that get right into the psyches of the victims. There are some stinkers among the classics, but that's to be expected in a series as long and drawn out as Saw. Most are pretty wicked though. One of the most iconic, gruesome, and elaborate traps in the series has to be the Angel Trap. Allison Carey, a detective who's a little too invested in her work, is snagged in this terrifying mechanism. She's hung from a leather harness that's secured by a padlock. A bunch of brackets are lodged in her ribcage, attached to some folded up wings on her back. Hanging in front of her face is a little jar of acid. At the bottom of this acid jar is a key that will unlock the whole thing. If she waits too long, the mechanism will activate, springing the metal wings open, which will result in her chest being opened up too. Not the most pleasant way to go by a long shot. Carrie has been placed in the trap because she's too involved with her investigative work, spending more time with corpses than her family. John Kramer, along with his apprentices, want to give her a chance to become like her true family, the dead. In the end, the trap proves to be inescapable as Jigsaw, in training Amanda Young, decides that her mentor's methods might not be decisive enough. Poor Detective Carey. She did everything she was supposed to and still ended up getting flayed. Coming in at number 2, we've got What's Your Favorite Scary Movie from Scream. Essentially a love letter to horror movies, Scream employs all sorts of clever, if not extremely meta, ideas to kill off the characters. Later in the movie, resident horror expert Randy Meeks outlines all sorts of classic horror rules to follow in order to live, which is followed by people breaking these rules and getting killed. Classic. The most clever of all, though, in both execution and cementing Scream as a horror classic, has to be the first. After marketing the movie as a Drew Barrymore vehicle and going so far as to feature her on the poster, we get to see her killed off first. Definitely not what everyone expected. And the way she dies is the perfect way to subvert the expectations of the audience. She gets a phone call from some unknown person who wants to talk to her about horror movies. Wes Craven, you know what you were doing. So they discuss horror movies and things take a deadly turn. Now she's got to answer the questions correctly or her boyfriend dies. No fake fans allowed, right? These gatekeepers are getting serious. After her boyfriend dies, she refuses to answer any more questions. It's just not worth it at that point, right? Well, that turns out to be the wrong move too, and poor Casey ends up dead. This sequence and the resulting death of their leading lady really sets the tone for the rest of the movie and the series that was to follow. It's hard to imagine a more perfect opening to a series of horror movies about horror movies. And finally, at number 1, we've got Isaac from Final Destination 5. Here's another series well known for intricate and almost impossible kills. Throughout the history of Final Destination, there have been countless incredible deaths put into motion by fate, or luck, or death itself. However, the death of Slimy Isaac is particularly interesting. See, it introduces so many elements, making you think you know exactly what's going to happen, and then it pulls the carpet out from under you. And as you're making new assumptions about what's going to happen next, another huge change occurs and Isaac's fate gets even worse. It plays with audience expectations so expertly that the final cause of death is both totally unexpected and 100% understandable. Every sleazy and awful thing Isaac does in the lead up to the scene comes into play in one way or another. It's incredible. First, it looks like the needles are going to do him in. Then, after he yanks one deep from within his skin, his cell phone threatens to knock over a candle and engulf him in flames. But in the end, it's a statuette of Buddha that gets the last laugh. Maybe you shouldn't be such a Isaac. I don't know about you, but I feel a little like Bradley Cooper in Limitless right now. My brain is firing on all cylinders. New connections are being made. Electrical impulses are zapping at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Clever kills are incredible. So what'd you think of the list? You probably have some kills that are much more cleverer, therefore making you more cleverer than me, huh? Have you seen all the flicks I mentioned? Let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more caffeinated ones in the top 5 weirdest horror movie monsters part 2. Nicholas Kaufman says, awkward, praising a Ron Jeremy movie at the moment. Yeesh. Yeah, I'm sorry for that one. I hadn't read up on the most recent developments before making that video. I don't support or condone his actions in the slightest. Brian Baker says, there's a film about monster trucks that become sentient too. Oh, you mean Paramount Pictures' 2016 family action comedy Monster Trucks starring Lucas Till? Definitely a horror movie. Myra Carmilla says, I keep saying seriously up to this ended. Man, I keep saying that too. Seriously up to this ended. Seriously up to this ended. Timothy Godfrey says, how could I forget Rat Boy? Well, who could forget dear Rat Boy? He resents that. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I take a nap in a malfunctioning tanning bed, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more rip-roaring ridiculousness. Thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.